A very warm welcome back to the channel from an airline that is looking to expand its fleet to some pretty major changes at the one and only British Airways and the launch of a new route in 2025. All that in today's aviation news recap, but beginning with Garuda Indonesia, who have experienced a very turbulent last few years. They believe, however, now they're finally moving in a positive direction, with a greater focus on profitability and obviously expansion. The Indonesian carrier is appointing a new chief executive officer to guide it into future years, and is also planning the exciting growth of its fleet to align itself with targets and competition. As part of those plans, the airline wants to continue restoring the national airline to its proper position, where people can be proud to fly and see it right around the world. While Garuda Indonesia doesn't fit in the same position as Air India, the idea of bringing a national carrier basically back to life and reigniting its status is something that is occurring at the Indian flag carrier. Looking ahead, while much stabilizing of the business must first occur, the hope would be to grow the airline upwards to 150 aircraft, which would represent significant growth over time. Having 150 planes across the Garuda Indonesia operation will allow for the expansion of the international network, which will see Garuda hopefully serve new markets and generally increase capacity towards existing locations that it may feel limitations currently in. It'll also make its operation more cost efficient, as it will look to transition out your older aircraft for next generation planes. However, moving towards this goal is a little more challenging than for some airlines attempting turnaround measures, as Garuda Indonesia has been losing money of late, something I've documented here on the channel quite frequently. For the first 9 months of, say, 2023, there was a reported pre-tax loss of USD 103 million. Meanwhile, its 3-month ending in September 2024 also saw a net loss of 29.6 million. Garuda has cited factors such as a change in the foreign exchange rate as reasons why its business hasn't been operating in an optimal manner for some time. What we also know is that in the Asian market there has been a lot of increased competition, and even your legacy airlines such as Singapore Airlines have been struggling to a certain extent, touching on that increased competition as a key catalyst. Despite these losses, which ultimately do need to be addressed under the new leadership, the airline is hopeful that it'll be able to navigate this turbulence and enable expansion as it does desire. Even at the end of 2023, you may recall that Garuda Indonesia announced its intent to expand the fleet in the coming years. The business was showing some steady signs of improvement, stating that it will be able to navigate the turbulence and from there expand as an airline. Over the long term, Garuda Indonesia's focus is absolutely clear, and that involves achieving certain pillars. These range from becoming A, profitable, to B, being sustainable, and B, to just really increase its overall presence across international markets, to make it a powerhouse not just throughout Indonesia, but also the world. Moving on to the next story, and that sits with British Airways, who have announced a major multi-billion-pound investment to their engineering facility at Cardiff Airport to prepare for the future requirements it'll face. The UK flag carrier says that the investment will be fundamental in increasing overall efficiency across the airline, while also ensuring that maintenance operations can occur to the best of the ability. One significant change in the base will be the ability to serve more aircraft than what is currently possible. For the longest period, the Cardiff base was only able to see the 777 and 787 aircraft types. However, thanks to the investment and the expansion of one of the 3 maintenance bays, there will now be the possibility to facilitate work on the larger long-haul aircraft of the A350. Since its delivery, we know the A350 has become a pivotal part of the long-haul network for this UK carrier, and that's only going to continue for many decades to come. So if you're in a position that's higher up in British Airways, well, then you very well may see this investment as crucial for a plane that's going to stick around for a long time, and all this will offer you greater flexibility. Once the work is complete, British Airways Maintenance Cardiff, or BAMC, will expand from 1 to 2 full fully flexible bays, allowing for more complex and detailed maintenance work to be conducted here. This investment is part of what the carrier described as a transformative effort that is taking place, which is worth some £7 billion. If you're after the time frame on this new expansion, if you will, or adjustments to the maintenance base, well, the work is expected to begin in 2025 and be completed 1 year later in 2026, permitting there is no delays. British Airways says that the investment is not just fantastic news for the airline, but it will also pave the way for further growth at the Cardiff site, and they believe it is a testament to the important work that continues to be conducted by the highly skilled workforce at this location. And I'd love to hear your opinion down below. Is this a good decision or not? Over to the final story, at least in today's recap. Norse Atlantic Airways is already gearing up for the 2025 winter schedule. I know it may seem hard to believe, considering we've only just begun the 2024 northern winter, but they'll be launching new flights to bolster their network in the colder months, and there is one that certainly does stand out, with a new flight to be offered from Stockholm and Bangkok, in quite a move that should really strengthen its international network offering. Service will commence on the 29th of October 2025, with Norse Atlantic Airways to offer twice weekly flights. These will jet off on Wednesdays and Sundays. Norse to use the 787 Dreamliner, which can seat 338 passengers in a economy and also a little bit of a premium economy configuration, making it a 2-class. Norse, as you would expect, relies heavily on the 787 Dreamliner. It is for the only fleet type that is used on a daily basis, and is also off the back of Norwegian. You may recall this name axing its long-haul 787 flying only a few years ago. Norse looked to really step in. The service launch next year to Bangkok is part of a continued refinement of the airline's long-haul network in what is an incredibly challenging market that is dominated by legacy carriers. This is something I've talked about time and time again, but most interestingly, in this release that was published by the airline, they also made mention of the challenging market that they live in. Norse typically enjoys a lot of demand across the summer months, and that is not really considered to be the problem. But since its conception, it has struggled in months that are colder, and trying to really convert the summer demand to year-round. So as a result, finances and overall performance during the year's colder months have not been at the levels that the airline would want to not just ensure long-term sustainability, but also profits. The last few years have seen Norse dip into new markets, lease out aircraft, and try and raise revenues in different ways. The long-term goal would be to have a robust network that operates year-round with strong demand levels, even if persistent changes are required to the network. Say, these routes are very much just seasonal bases only. Norse says there's great confidence in the Swedish air travel market, and its investment in offering service from Stockholm to Bangkok does respond to that. Furthermore, they'll be able to increase connectivity and offer better travel options from Bangkok and Asia in the opposite direction, which is exciting to say the least. What are your thoughts on this route set to launch in basically a year? Let me know down below in the comments, alongside your thoughts on any of the other stories. Please take care, be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow for your latest industry news.
And we'll fly.